I think that it's become very clear that this is not about some general policy addressing employers that meet a certain description. When we make references to the project that's on the ballot in November, and we make references to a specific development agreement, and we say things like, for this project and this project, we have established a pretty clear public record of what the intention is. And that public record itself will fit very well in any challenge of constitutionality of any ordinance that might come forward. I think that there are some issues here that are really sort of troublesome. You know, we have a full-blown ordinance that frankly does have, even if we were to say that this is a policy that we want to pursue, this full-blown ordinance has a number of questions. I would ask, why retail? Why not healthcare? Why not public contracts? Why not the university? Why not the school district? Why not Sutter Health? Why not Nugget Market or Ace Lumber? These are all employers that are in this city. So I think if we want to grapple with the policy issue of what is a living wage, then we need to do it straight up. If not, then I believe that we're dealing with political rhetoric in the closing weeks before an election. That's all wonderful and good, but let's call it what it is, and you're keeping us all here to do that. Now, I appreciate and respect your drive, your momentum, your motivation. It's reasonable. But this is not the only issue. If we are talking about doing economic impact analysis of our actions, it seems pretty clear that if there's a large employer in this community that employs, as is predicted, some 250 for this project people, maybe 300, and 2/3 of them are part-time workers defined as working 28 hours a week and receiving full benefits. There are not a lot of employers in Davis who are doing that on the private sector. So are we going to have a bar that's set for some reason at $10, which we need to go through and understand why that's set there? We're going to set a bar at $10 an hour for starting wage, and that's going to suck you out 250 people out of the labor market and put them to work in one place. How will the rest of the employers in the community respond? If we're talking about objective, rational policy, then we need to take a look at the economic impact on other employers' ability to continue to do business in the community if something like this were to go into effect. But we still don't know if it's constitutional to discriminate against a single employer. We still don't know if, in fact, the city has the ability to establish for private sector employers for which we have no relationship, no contractual, a minimum wage, when the state, in fact, has responsibility for setting minimum wage through the the Department of Industrial Relations and their wage setting processes. So there's just a number of questions about this. To bring it up as a discussion point is perfectly appropriate. You want to talk about it, we can talk about it. You want to propose an ordinance for first reading on the first time it's been brought up. That's not talking about a policy. That's talking about politics. It's talking about trying to influence people in an election.
I appreciate your comments, Councilmember Saylor. Frankly, I wish if this is something that we were in favor of or favor of discussing, I wish that would have been done before we had an application of the nature that's just been passed by the previous council that appears on the ballot. I've only been on the council for a couple of months. This is my 4th meeting, and I'm acting with, in my mind, with all deliberate speed to do what I think is right to protect and do as much as we can to provide good jobs in this community. Arguably, this could have been proposed absent Measure K. Just because it may be perceived as one thing or another, I say that this is a genuine policy discussion I think we should engage in. And I know it is 12:45 in the morning, but we took an oath to do the best job we could to protect as many of our residents as possible. And I see that as this one piece, this is an initiation of a policy discussion that I thought, and taking a proactive stance, that I thought that this should have taken place a long time ago. I'm surprised that we haven't had this kind of discussion before Measure K appeared on the ballot. To interpret it however you want to, but I sincerely have the most genuine of desires, and it's manifested in my life as a person in the union, someone who's enjoyed a living wage in the city of Davis. Yes, this discussion should be discussed also involving other types of employees, other types of businesses. This is a starting point. I hope that we have council direction to pursue this issue, and I think that a large part of our community would be interested in this council pursuing what many see as a moral issue. You may accuse me of using rhetoric, but it is a moral issue. I think it's unconscionable to provide jobs that don't pay above the federal poverty line. I can tell you how we calculated $10 per hour. It wasn't just a round number that we came up with. There are reasons for doing this. Absent any measure on the ballot in November, this council gets accused all the time of not being proactive enough, and I'm trying to take a proactive stance.
Okay, Ruth,